I'm Sharon, and I'm 30 years old. I grew up with my parents and an older brother. My brother's name is Kevin, and he's 3 years older than me. We had a pretty normal childhood, I guess. Our parents weren't rich, but they made sure we had what we needed. I went to college, got my degree in finance, and landed a good job in the finance department of a large trading company. The pay was solid, and I was good at what I did. I moved up steadily, got raises, bonuses. I was doing well for myself. Kevin took a different path. He went to college too, but he struggled to find his footing after graduation. He bounced around between jobs, never quite settling into anything stable. Then he met his wife, Amanda, and they got married pretty quickly. They had 2 kids, Sophie who's 9 now and Ethan who's 7. Kevin and Amanda always seemed to be struggling financially. He'd get a job, things would be okay for a while, then something would happen and they'd be in trouble again. And every single time, they'd come to me for help. At first, I didn't mind. That's what family does, right? You help each other out. So I'd loan them money, or co-sign on something, or help them with whatever they needed. I never asked for it back. I just helped because that's what you do. My parents weren't much better off financially. They lived in their same old house, and as they got older, things kept breaking down. The furnace, the roof, the car. They'd call me, and I'd help them too. It became a pattern. Someone in the family needed something, they'd call Sharon. Sharon will fix it. Sharon will pay for it. Sharon will figure it out. I kept track of it all in a spreadsheet on my computer. Not because I wanted to throw it in their faces or anything, but just to know where my money was going. Groceries for Kevin when he was unemployed for 3 months cost me $1,300. Amanda needed dental surgery that insurance didn't fully cover, so I paid the extra $420. My parents' heating bill during a bad snowstorm was $268 that they couldn't afford, so I paid it. The biggest one was Amanda's car loan. They bought a family car about a year ago because they needed something bigger for the kids. But they couldn't make the monthly payments, so they asked if I could help temporarily. Temporarily turned into me paying $4,000 over the course of a year. I didn't even count the toys and clothes and Christmas gifts I bought for my nephew and niece. That was just what aunts do. Nobody ever said thank you. Not really. Maybe a quick thanks here and there, but nothing that felt genuine. It was more like they expected it from me. A few weeks ago, Kevin finally bought a house. It was a nice place, 3 bedrooms, a yard for the kids. He'd been so excited about it. What he didn't tell anyone was that I'd helped him fix his credit history. I'd spent hours on the phone with credit companies, disputing things, explaining situations. And then I'd transferred him the money for the down payment and closing costs. But when Kevin posted on social media about his new house, he wrote this long post about how hard work pays off. About how he'd achieved his dream through dedication and persistence. He thanked Amanda for supporting him. He thanked his parents. He didn't mention me once. When I saw that post, something twisted in my gut. But I told myself it was fine. I didn't need recognition. Then Kevin invited the family over for dinner to celebrate the new house. My parents were coming, Kevin and Amanda obviously, the kids, and even Amanda's parents. It was supposed to be this big family celebration. I showed up on time with a bottle of wine and a housewarming gift. The house looked nice inside. Amanda had decorated it well. We all sat down for dinner. The table was crowded with all of us there. I ended up sitting next to my niece, Kevin's daughter. The food was passed around, and I realized the bowl of mashed potatoes was on the other side of Sophie. "Sophie, can you pass the potatoes please?" I asked. She looked right through me like I didn't exist. I thought maybe she didn't hear me, so I asked again, a little louder. "Sophie, can you pass me the potatoes?" This time she turned her whole body toward me. She looked me right in the eye and said loudly, so everyone could hear, "I don't want to sit with you. We don't sit with people like you." Mom and Dad said you're a loser. The table went silent for exactly half a second. Then everyone started laughing. Amanda tried to hide her smile behind her napkin. My mom was chuckling. Amanda's parents were grinning like it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard. I looked at Kevin, he shrugged and turned to my dad. So Dad, how's the truck running? He asked, completely changing the subject. And just like that, everyone moved on. They started talking about other things, passing food around, laughing and chatting. I sat there frozen. Sophie was 9 years old, she wouldn't come up with something like that on her own. Which meant Kevin and Amanda had been talking about me. Calling me a loser. Probably laughing about how I paid for everything while they enjoyed the benefits. I stood up slowly, nobody noticed at first. I picked up my purse from the back of my chair. Sharon, where are you going? My mom asked, barely looking up from her plate. I'm leaving, I said. Kevin waved his hand dismissively. Don't be so sensitive, she's just a kid. I walked out without another word. Behind me, I could hear them laughing again. I got in my car and just sat there for a minute. My phone buzzed. It was a text from my dad, payment is tomorrow, right? He was talking about his car insurance. I'd been paying it for months because he claimed he couldn't afford it. I typed back, not my problem. I started the car and drove home. The next morning, I woke up with this weird sense of clarity. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. I picked up my phone and sent one text message to Amanda. I refused to pay your car loan. Then I called the bank. I'd been listed as a payer on Amanda's car loan for the past year. I told them I wanted to be removed from the list of authorized payers immediately. The woman on the phone asked if I was sure, and I said yes. She processed it right there. About an hour later, my phone started blowing up. Kevin was calling, then texting. Then calling again, what's going on? Why did Amanda get a notice from the bank? Sharon, call me back. We need to talk about this. I didn't respond to any of it. I just let the phone buzz and then go quiet. That morning, I also did something else. I logged into my bank account and revoked my parents' access to it. Years ago, they'd asked for access so they could pay their utilities directly from my account since they were always short. I'd given them limited access to make automatic payments. Now I removed it completely. In the evening, Kevin's wife posted something in our family group chat. It was a long message about how I was abandoning them in their time of need, how they'd always been there for me, how I was being cruel and selfish. Within minutes, my mom had liked the message. Then my dad. Then Amanda's parents, who were somehow in the chat too. I read it once, then left the group chat without typing a single word. At 8:30 that night, my mom texted me privately. Your father tried to pay the utilities from your account, but it's not working. Can you fix it? I didn't respond. I didn't explain that I'd removed their access on purpose. I just ignored the message. Over the next few days, more messages came. Kevin sent long paragraphs about how I was overreacting. Amanda sent crying emojis and said they had children to think about. My mom called multiple times. I didn't answer any of it. I went to work. I came home. I lived my normal life. And for the first time in years, I wasn't stressed about money. I wasn't checking my bank account wondering what my family had spent this time. I pulled out my spreadsheet and looked at all the numbers again. $1,300 in groceries during Kevin's unemployment. $420 for Amanda's dental work. $268 for the heating bill. $4,000 for the car payments. And that didn't even count all the other stuff. The birthday presents, the Christmas gifts, the times I bought them dinner or filled up their gas tanks. I'd been keeping my entire family afloat, and all I got in return was being called a loser by a 9-year-old who was repeating what her parents said. A week after the dinner, my dad got a call from his insurance company. His car insurance policy had been canceled due to non-payment. See, I'd been paying my dad's car insurance for over a year. He'd asked me to take it over temporarily when he was between jobs. Temporary became permanent, like everything else with my family. 5 days earlier, the payment had been due. I didn't make it. My dad called me. "Sharon, there's been some mistake with the insurance. Can you call them and sort it out?" I didn't answer. 2 days later, my dad was driving his truck when he got pulled over for a broken taillight. When the cop ran his information, he discovered my dad had no insurance. The truck was confiscated on the spot. Kevin sent me a furious text. "Dad's truck got impounded because you didn't pay his insurance. This is your fault. He needs that truck for work. What is wrong with you?" I read it and deleted it. Then my mom sent a long message. It was full of guilt trips about how I was hurting people who loved me. She said my grandmother would be ashamed of my behavior when they told her about it. She said I was being vindictive and cruel. I didn't even feel bad. That probably sounds terrible, but I just didn't. I felt nothing. That evening, I was going through some old files on my computer. I was organizing documents when I found something I'd completely forgotten about. For years ago, I'd opened a 529 education fund for my nephew and niece. It's a special savings account for college expenses. I hadn't told anyone about it. I just quietly deposited $200 into it every month for 4 years. I did the math. That was $9,600. I logged into the account and looked at the balance. With interest and growth, it was a bit more than that now. Money that I'd saved for kids whose parents let them call me a loser. I transferred the entire balance back to my checking account. Then I closed the fund. My phone kept buzzing. More calls from Kevin. More texts from my mom. Even Amanda's parents sent me messages now, calling me heartless. I just looked at the messages with this detached feeling, then deleted them one by one. A few days later, I came home from work to find a package on my doorstep. It wasn't from Amazon or any store. The return address was my brother's house. I opened it carefully. Inside was a homemade bracelet made of macaroni noodles painted in bright colors. The kind of craft project kids do in school. My name was written on it in careful letters, Sharon. There was a note with it, written in a child's handwriting but with words that definitely didn't come from a child. "Dear Aunt Sharon, I am deeply sorry for my inappropriate behavior at dinner. It was disrespectful and I understand now that you have always been supportive of our family. Please forgive me. I would be honored if you could attend my Christmas play next month. Love, Sophie." I read it twice. Deeply sorry, inappropriate behavior, honored. These weren't words a 9-year-old would use. Kevin had obviously dictated this to her. I held the macaroni bracelet in my hand. It was actually kind of well made for a kid's craft project. Sophie had probably spent time on it. But it didn't matter. This wasn't a real apology. This was Kevin using his daughter to manipulate me. I put the bracelet back in the box and set it aside. Then I remembered something. In 40 days, Kevin had a big payment due on his mortgage. He'd gotten one of those adjustable rate mortgages, and the rate was about to jump significantly. He'd need to refinance to avoid the higher payment. But he couldn't refinance without me. I was still listed as a co-borrower on the loan. The bank required my signature for any changes. Without refinancing, Kevin would be stuck with a payment he couldn't afford. He'd have to either sell the house or default on the loan. I didn't feel guilty about that either. I just felt calm. The days counted down. 40 days became 30, then 20, then 10. On Monday, with just over a week left before the payment was due, Kevin's messages changed. The anger disappeared. Now he was begging. "Sharon, please. We need to talk about the refinancing. I know you're upset, but we can work this out. Please just call me back. The bank needs your signature. Please." I read every message. I didn't reply to any of them. On Tuesday evening, there was a knock on my door. I looked through the peephole and saw a delivery courier standing there with packages. "Delivery for Sharon," he said, holding up 2 boxes. "I need a signature." I looked at the labels. One was from my mother's address. The other was from Kevin's house. "I'm refusing these deliveries," I said. "Please take them back to the senders." The courier looked confused. "Are you sure? They're already paid for." "I'm sure, take them back." He shrugged, made a note on his device, and left with both packages. I found out later that my mom had sent homemade cakes. Kevin had sent books by my favorite author. Expensive hardcovers, probably cost him over $100. 3 days later, my mom sent a text. It was different from the angry messages before. "Sharon, your brother is in real trouble. The bank is warning him about the payment. He can't refinance without your signature. Please think about Sophie and Ethan. They shouldn't lose their home because of some accident." Some accident, that's what she called it. A 9-year-old calling me a loser in front of the whole family was just some accident. I didn't respond. 6 days before the payment was due, Kevin sent one more message. Just one sentence. "If you don't sign, I'll understand, I really understand." It was the first time he'd acknowledged that maybe, just maybe, he deserved what was happening. But I still didn't respond. The next day, a Thursday afternoon, someone knocked on my door again. This time when I looked through the peephole, I saw my grandmother. Grandma Helen was my dad's mother. She was 82 years old, sharp as ever, and one of the few people in my family I actually respected. I opened the door immediately. "Grandma, what are you doing here?" "Can I come in, sweetheart?" she asked. Of course, I stepped aside and let her in. We sat down in my living room. She looked tired. "I'm not here to yell at you," she said right away. "I'm not here to guilt you. I just want to talk." "Okay," I said. "Your family is falling apart, Sharon." She said it matter-of-factly, not dramatically. Kevin applied for a private loan to cover the mortgage payment. He was denied because he has too much debt. Amanda packed a suitcase 2 days ago. She took the kids and moved in with her parents. She told Kevin she needs to think about their future. I stayed quiet, listening. "Your father isn't doing well," Grandma continued. "His blood pressure is high. He's taking medication for it now. Your mother is beside herself with worry." "They should have thought about that before," I said. "You're right," Grandma said, surprising me. "You're absolutely right. I've watched you help this family for years, Sharon. I've seen you pay for things, fix things, take care of everyone. And I've seen how they treated you. Like you were just there to solve their problems." I felt my throat get tight. "What Sophie said at that dinner was cruel," Grandma said. "And the fact that everyone laughed instead of defending you? That was worse. You had every right to walk out." "So why are you here?" I asked. "Because I'm asking you to think about something," she said gently. "Not for Kevin's sake, not for your parents. But for Sophie and Ethan. Their children. They might lose their home. That's not their fault." I looked down at my hands. "I'm not telling you what to do," Grandma said. "I'm just asking you to think about it. Really think about it. Those kids didn't ask for any of this." She hugged me and left. I spent the next 2 days thinking. I didn't want to. I wanted to stay angry and righteous. But Grandma's words kept playing in my head. I thought about Sophie and Ethan. They were just kids. Sophie had said what her parents taught her to say. She didn't really understand what it meant. I thought about all the good memories I had with my family. Birthday parties when I was young. Holidays. The time Kevin taught me to ride a bike. The way my mom used to make my favorite cookies when I was sick. They'd treated me terribly, they'd used me. But they were still my family. And those kids were innocent. The day before the payment was due, I picked up my phone. I called the bank and asked about Kevin's refinancing. I'm listed as a co-borrower, I said. I want to make an appointment to sign the refinancing documents. I drove to the bank. I sat in a small office with a loan officer. He explained the paperwork to me, and I signed everywhere I needed to sign. I left the bank and went home. I didn't call Kevin. I didn't call my parents. I didn't tell anyone what I'd done. Let them sweat for another 24 hours. Let them really feel what it was like to face consequences. Let them understand what it meant to almost lose everything. They needed to know what it felt like to do without me. 2 days later, on Saturday morning, my phone buzzed with a text from Kevin. It was just one word, thank you. He'd gone to the bank and found out I'd signed. The refinancing was approved. He got to keep his house. An hour later, my mom called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Sharon, she said. Can you come to dinner this weekend? We'd like to see you. No, I said simply. But you signed the papers, you helped Kevin. I did that for Sophie and Ethan, I said. Not for Kevin, not for you. I did it so 2 innocent kids wouldn't lose their home. Sharon. I haven't forgiven Kevin, I interrupted. I haven't forgiven you or Dad. I'm not ready to see any of you right now. I need you to respect that and not contact me. There was silence on the line. Okay, my mom said finally, her voice small. I understand. She hung up. Several months passed after that phone call with my mom. I didn't reach out to my family, and for the most part, they respected my wishes and didn't contact me. The only person I talked to regularly was Grandma Helen. She called me every couple of weeks, and we'd have long conversations. She never pushed me to reconcile with the family. She just kept me updated on what was happening with everyone. Amanda moved back home, Grandma told me during one call. She and Kevin are trying to work things out. Good for them, I said, and I meant it. I didn't want their marriage to fall apart. They're struggling financially, Grandma continued. Kevin's still working, but the money is tight. Amanda had to pick up extra shifts at her job. They're living very modestly now. No more eating out, no more shopping trips. They're barely making ends meet. I didn't feel bad about that. They'd spent years living beyond their means while I picked up the slack. Now they were learning to live within a budget. How are my parents doing? I asked. Grandma sighed. They're managing, but it's hard. Your father picked up extra shifts at work to cover all the bills. Your mother got a part-time job at the library. She's working as a cleaner there 3 days a week. My mom was working as a cleaner. The woman who used to brag about never having to work outside the home was now scrubbing toilets at the library. Part of me felt a twinge of guilt. But mostly, I just felt nothing. Work became my focus. Without the constant drain of supporting my family, I could actually concentrate on my career. I threw myself into projects, stayed late when needed, volunteered for the difficult assignments that others avoided. My boss noticed. 3 months after the incident at Kevin's house, she called me into her office. Sharon, I want to talk to you about a promotion, she said. I sat down, trying not to look too excited. We're creating a new senior analyst position, she continued. It comes with a significant raise and more responsibilities. I'd like to offer it to you. I'd love to accept, I said immediately. Great, we'll make it official next week. The raise was substantial. 20% more than I'd been making. For the first time in years, all that extra money was mine to keep. I opened a new savings account specifically for a house fund. Every paycheck, I transferred a large chunk into it. No more car payments for Amanda. No more insurance for my dad. No more utility bills for my parents. No more education fund for kids whose parents called me a loser. Just my money, going toward my future. Watching that account grow felt incredible. Every month, the balance got bigger. I started looking at houses online, figuring out what I could afford, what neighborhoods I liked. 6 months after everything happened, Grandma called with more news. "Your brother and Amanda are really struggling," she said. "Amanda's working so much that she barely sees the kids. Kevin's stressed all the time. But they're paying their bills on their own." "That's what being an adult is," I said. "You're right," Grandma agreed, "they needed to learn that." "What about Mom and Dad?" "They're getting by. It's not easy for them, but they're managing. Your father's truck got out of impound eventually, but he had to pay a lot of fees. He's more careful about keeping up with the insurance now." She paused, then asked, "How are you doing, Sharon?" "Really?" "I'm good, Grandma," I said. "Really good, actually. I got promoted at work. I'm saving money for my own house. I'm planning to buy a place soon." "I'm so proud of you," she said warmly. "Thanks, Grandma. Your family made a lot of mistakes," she said. "They took you for granted. They didn't appreciate what you did for them. But I want you to know that I see you. I've always seen you." My eyes got a little wet. "I know you have. And when you're ready, if you ever want to reconnect with them, or if you don't, either way is okay. This is your choice." Last week, I put in an offer on a house. It's a small 2-bedroom place with a nice yard. Nothing fancy, but it's mine. The offer was accepted yesterday. I'll be closing on it next month. I have enough saved for a 20% down payment, which means my mortgage will be reasonable. I can afford it comfortably on my salary without stretching myself thin. When I think about my family now, I don't feel angry anymore. I don't feel guilty either. I just feel indifferent. They're living their lives, dealing with their consequences. Kevin and Amanda are learning to budget and work hard. My parents are learning to manage their own finances. Sophie and my nephew are fine. They still have a home, they still have their parents. And I'm living my life too. A life where I'm not responsible for everyone else's problems. A life where my money is my own. A life where I'm respected, even if it's just by myself. I don't know if I'll ever fully reconcile with my family. Maybe someday. Maybe never. Right now, I'm okay with the way things are. I have my job. I have my grandmother. I have my savings account and my new house. I have my peace of mind. And honestly, that's more than enough. For the first time in my adult life, I'm putting myself first. I'm building something for me, not for everyone else. I'm not anyone's ATM. I'm not anyone's backup plan. I'm not anyone's solution to their financial problems. My family learned a hard lesson. They learned what life is like without me constantly bailing them out. And I learned something too. I learned that I don't owe anyone my financial stability just because we share blood. I spent years being taken for granted. Now I'm done with that. And I've never been happier.